The transfer portal is running rampant, and it's basically the free agency of college football. But one position stands out more than anything else, and you know exactly where I'm going with this. Let's talk about the quarterbacks that are looking for a brand new home in 2024. If you are new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, plus anything with coaching searches, anything with the bowl games, anything with just really outside noise in college football, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below. We're on the race to 1,000, then 5,000, then 10,000, then 100,000. And ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you this right now, we will get there. So why don't you jump on in while the water is fine? Make sure that you also go ahead and give me a follow on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. It's the exact same as my YouTube channel. Tell your friends, your family, your sister, your brother, your mortal enemies, your best of bros, your workout partner, your entire church congregation, and maybe even the drunk guy passed out at a Publix parking lot about this channel. So that way we can continue to talk about college football. It's really interesting to talk about the transfer portal and the NIL portal, which is a giant difference in my opinion. And I think even coaches would somewhat agree with this sentiment. When you go into the transfer portal, you are looking for that last piece, that element that was missing from your team a year ago that can fortify and help you gravitate a few more wins. And we've seen this before. Last season, it was evident that when you added in Keon Coleman down in Tallahassee, Florida, he was supposed to uptick your offensive production in the passing game. And he did. And the same thing goes for Jaheim Bell. And the same thing goes for a ton of other receivers that made the jump from one school to another. Adonai Mitchell at Texas was phenomenal this year, and he's probably garnered a lot more of draft status because he left Athens and went to Austin. And now he's back in the college football playoff, and he's been a very reliable target for Quinn Ewers. That's what you're looking for in the transfer portal. The NIL portal, in my opinion, is mostly based for quarterbacks. And Matt Rhule came out with a statement not too long ago talking about this exact thing, where it will cost you about $1 million, if not more, to land a quarterback that will strengthen your roster and bring you into the conversation of making it to the college football playoff. The bottom line is that if you do not have the right man leading the charge under center, you have no shot. You look at teams this past year and what they were able to do with their quarterback, and guys like Carson Beck at Georgia, and guys like Bo Nix at Oregon, and Michael Penix Jr. at Washington, at Quinn Ewers, Texas, Jalen Milroe. I'll even go a step further and say guys like, you look at Jordan Travis, and you look at even Kyle McCord and JJ McCarthy, and even a few others that were like on the outside looking in, like say Jaden Daniels at LSU. The reason why those teams were so successful was because of the man who was calling the shots on offense, the guy who was throwing the football 40 yards down the field and finding receivers wide open for big time plays. That's the key element of what was missing for a lot of these teams. And if you didn't have that guy, or you didn't feel comfortable with that guy, you eventually were kind of caught in a rock and a hard place. And this is where the NIL portal really matters. You have to be able to spend money at the quarterback position. And it's the exact same in the NFL. Lane Kiffin a few years ago mentioned how college football is getting basically the transfer portal to turn into free agency. And he's not wrong. But NIL is really like giving out contract extensions and massive deals to QBs that finally hit the open market. So this is a year where you will have a ton of talent actually find its way into the transfer portal. And there's a lot of names that most people probably haven't heard of. And there's a variety of different quarterbacks that you're looking for. A one-time year kind of rental that will eventually fortify your status as one of the premier teams in college football. This is where you go get a guy like Washington State's Cam Ward, who has proven that in any style of offense, he can work. He's mobile. He's hyper athletic. He can utilize his legs. He's got a great deep ball. He can throw it as far as Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. He's a one-year rental, but that 1 year may be enough to send you into a 12-team playoff. The same thing goes for Riley Leonard, a very hyper-athletic athlete from the University of Duke, or Duke University from Alabama, who could really just go ahead and be a part of a pro-style offense and that missing element. You have other guys such as Nathan Rourke now coming out of Ohio. You have guys like Kyle McCord, who has left Ohio State. And we're going to get to that one in a minute. But you also have unproven guys that maybe just need to find a new home and you can build a roster around them. And these are guys like NC State's MJ Morris. And these are guys such as Dante Moore from UCLA. And then you have guys who have been kind of journeymen like Max Johnson, who already committed from Texas A&M to North Carolina, and Drew Pine, who recently entered the transfer portal from Arizona State after a one-year stint as running the quarterback room in South Bend, Indiana for Notre Dame. Kyle McCord is going to be a really interesting one because McCord is kind of a quarterback that I think is going to get the short end of the stick because of his situation. Like McCord, I don't think would be out at Ohio State if he would have won against Michigan. But there comes a pressure of being the Ohio State starting quarterback. And sometimes one of the biggest blunders for your entire career is losing one game. You look at the future of Ohio State football right now, and you see a ton of names leaving via the transfer portal. You have one of the cornerbacks leaving. You have Julian Fleming, one of the 5-star wide receivers, number 1 wide receiver of his recruiting class, now entering the portal. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're tired of losing and really kind of handling business all the way up until the last game of the year. And then they get short-sighted. You have to be physically and mentally tough, I think, to play at Ohio State. A lot different than other places because you look at the way the Buckeyes react to losing in the college football playoff, losing a national championship. It sucks. They're sad. They're downtrodden. They're upset that they won't be able to claim a national title this year. But you look at the way that they react to when they lose against Michigan. It is basically like you are the Frankenstein monster, and that's an angry mob coming after you. So I think Kyle McCord actually may end up being one of the best quarterbacks in the transfer portal this year. And there's other names out there that definitely deserve a lot of praise and a lot of garneration. You know, we already mentioned Riley Leonard. We already mentioned Cam Ward. Dillon Gabriel is one of the most proven commodities out there. And I think it's very clear that he's going to have only a handful of teams that will really look at him because they understand that that's really where he resides. Mississippi State's probably going to be the number 1 spot because of his relationship with Jeff Lebby. And it's very proven because of Lebby coached him at UCF. Then he actually left UCLA to go to Oklahoma when Lebby took the job as offensive coordinator. The same thing kind of goes for a guy that we haven't really talked about, like Grayson McCall. McCall, I don't think will go to Liberty, but I think he's only going to stay in that certain criteria area, like a Duke or like a NC State or like one of those programs in the ACC, very close to home. And then you have another guy like Will Rogers, who I think actually just needs a change of pace. Change of scenery is sometimes a good thing. And that's something that I think a lot of people kind of get lost in translation, is that just because you leave a program doesn't mean that you're not good. Sometimes the system doesn't fit you anymore. And the one thing that you need to do to better your chances of making it to the NFL is play in a system that gravitates towards you. Last season, you look at what happened at Mississippi State. They completely changed the offense. It was like a night and day difference of what Mike Leach ran and what Zach Arnett wanted to run. And ultimately, that's what led to Arnett's firing and pretty much what led to Will Rogers wanting to enter the transfer portal. He goes to a school that's known for its air raid passing attack. It's high tempo. Thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.